So have you ever heard the phrase jack of all trades and master of none? Well, this phrase applies to a lot of guitar students that I see. There's just so much information available now that it's easy to get caught up in the trap of trying to learn everything and ultimately mastering nothing. Well, let's get real. You don't need to master everything to sound like a pro. What if I told you if you got really good at using 3 relatively easy techniques that you could unlock 90% of what you hear great lead guitarists play? Well, that is what I'm telling you. And today I'm going to explain why these 3 techniques work so well. And then I'm going to demonstrate by showing you how easy it is to make up a solo over one of the greatest guitar songs of the last 50 years. I promise you, you want to stick around and check out the whole video. So grab your guitar and let's get into it. So what are these 3 techniques? Well, they're not exactly secrets, and you probably already know them to some extent. These 3 techniques are triads, pentatonic scales, and a simple 2-octave major scale pattern. To prove the point of just how useful these concepts are, we're going to apply them to the chord changes of the Dire Straits masterpiece, Sultans of Swing, in which the great Mark Knopfler played one of the all-time great guitar solos. One of the most notable things about Mark's solos in that song is how he addressed all of the chord changes almost like a jazz player would. But check this out, as great a job as Mark did in playing through the changes in those Sultans solos, he was using almost exclusively triads and pentatonic scales. There's only one chromatic or passing note in the entire solo. The rest, it's pentatonic scales and a note or 2 from the major scale added to major and minor triads. That's it. Let me show you how to do the same thing, starting with triads. Triads are 3-note chords made up of a root note, a note a 3rd interval above the root, and another note a 5th interval above the root and a 3rd interval above the middle note. Let's take a quick look at the theory on triads, and then we're going to do some playing. Sultans of Swing is in the key of D minor, which is the relative minor of the key F major. So we'll use the F major scale to illustrate our points. F major has the notes F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and then we're back to F. If we start on the F as our root and we count over to the 3rd note from F, we have A. And counting over the 3rd note from A, we get C. So an F major triad is made up of the notes F, A, and C. It's a major triad because that middle note, A, is 4 frets or 2 whole steps above the F, and we call that a major 3rd interval. Triads can also be minor. If we start on the D note as our root, counting over to the 3rd note from there, we get F. Now F, it's only 3 frets or what we call a minor 3rd above D. And counting over a 3rd from F, we get A. So D is the root, and we've got a minor 3rd in the middle. So the D minor triad is made up of the notes D, F, and A. Let's stick with major and minor triads for today. It's all we need for Sultans of Swing. Let's take a look at the chord progression for Sultans of Swing and apply our triads. In the verse, we've got D minor for a measure, C and B flat, split a measure, and then we have 2 measures of A. And we play through that progression twice. Well, guess what? Those chords are simple triad voicings. And you probably heard the phrase chord tones soloing. Well, my friends, triads are the chord tones. Check out how well you hear the chord progression if I just play the triads for D minor, C, B flat, and A. The song then goes to an F chord for 2 measures, followed by C again for 2 measures. We got B flat for 2 measures, and then we're back to D minor. little 4-bar pre-chorus where the chords are C, a quick B flat, and back to C. And in the chorus, we've got D minor, C, and then B flat, back to C, and then F to C. And we can use simple triad shapes to sketch out a path around the fretboard and play the most important note of every chord in the song. Here's F and C from the second part of the verse. B flat and D minor. B flat and C from the pre-chorus. And in the chorus, we can just play D minor to B flat. Then C, then F to C. Now, I'm just playing the same 2 or 3 major and minor triad shapes over and over. But we're nailing the notes of the chords and we're playing through those changes like a boss. Concept number 1 of our big 3, it's triads. But just playing the notes of the chords starts to sound boring really fast, so we need some other tools. Let's see what we can do with concept number 2 of our big 3, and this one should be an old friend to most of you, the pentatonic scale. So I'm not going to take up time going over the theory of the pentatonic scale. I'm going to keep things super simple and we're going to demonstrate examples using just one shape. It's the shape we know as pattern 1 of minor pentatonic, and you should also know it as pattern 5 of major pentatonic. Here's a quick trick to switch between major and minor and move this shape all over the neck. If you play this pattern with your index finger on the E string root, like right now my finger is on D, it's the minor pentatonic of that root. But if we play that same pattern with our pinky on the root, now my pinky is on D, it's the major pentatonic of that root. Here's D minor pentatonic. And here's D major. Super simple. Now, let's move that shape through the chord changes. We've got D minor, C major, B flat major. But we've got a bit of an issue with the A major chord. A major isn't from the key of F or D minor. It's from the key of D harmonic minor. It's part of a 2-5-1 progression, a minor 2-5-1 in that key. A major has got a C note, a C sharp, in it, that we don't have in A minor pentatonic, and we can't use A major pentatonic because there's multiple notes there that wouldn't fit. But here's a simple little trick that makes the minor pentatonic fit over major chords when we play, for instance, blues solos. Let's just bend the minor third from C up to C sharp. And suddenly it fits perfectly. There are other tricks we could do, but I promised you we just use one shape, so there you go. In the second part of the verse, we've got F and C. Here's F major pentatonic, C major pentatonic. Then we've got B flat to D minor. In the pre-chorus, we've got C, B flat to C. And in the chorus, we've got D minor to B flat, C, F to C. Pretty cool. Now, obviously, I'm oversimplifying things by using just one shape. You need to learn all the pentatonic shapes. You need to be able to play them in any key, anywhere on the neck. But again, I promised you I'd keep things simple in this video. I'm still hearing some missing notes though. Let's go to the third of our big three concept and play around with the notes of the major scale. Let's go up to the 8th fret and we're going to use this F major scale pattern that sort of overlaps the first pattern of D minor pentatonic. F major has the notes F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and we're back to F. Again, without getting into much theory and keeping things as simple as possible, we could just kind of wander through the major scale over our chord progression, and it actually sounds really nice. Check this out. D minor, C, B flat, and that pesky A major. And here's a little theory trick that does come in really handy. A Phrygian mode, which works really nicely over that A major chord and sounds sort of Spanish, it's actually the third mode in the key of F major. So just playing the F major scale over an A major chord, being careful to accentuate the A root note, well, it sounds really awesome. All the rest of the chords, well, they're made up of notes of the F major scale. So all we really need to do to make that F major scale sound good over the progression is to be mindful of the chord tones and to pause on them once in a while. And once again, it allows us to simply and easily play through the chord changes like a boss. Over D minor, I played the notes F, E, D, C, B flat, and A. F, A, and C are the notes of the F major triad. Over C, we played E, D, C, B flat, A, and G. C, E, and G are the notes of the C major triad. Over B flat, we played D, C, B flat, A, G, and F. And once again, we have the notes of the B flat triad, B flat, D, and F. And over A, we played C, B flat, A, G, F, and E. A and E are from the A major triad, and B flat, it's the flat second of A, which gives us that Spanish Phrygian sound. So we've got all the notes we need with the F major scale to sound great over these chord changes. However, playing just scales starts to sound mechanical, and there's no place for that in rock and roll. So what can we do? Well, what if we were to combine our big three concepts to make up licks and lines over the changes? That's going to work, so let's do it. Let's start with a D minor pentatonic blues lick over our D minor chord. A C major triad with the 9th or D added over our C. Same thing over our B flat. And now we're going to do an F major scale run over the A major chord. I made sure to get that B flat in there to accentuate the Spanish flavor, but also to end on an E note, the 5th of A major, to bring home the sound with a chord tone. Going back to D minor, we're going to play a D minor triad with the minor 7th or C on top, followed by another D minor triad in the 10th position with an extra F note on top. And then we're going to slide into the G at fret 15 and play a C major triad. Slide into the 18th fret of B flat on the high E and play this B flat major shape. And over the A, we're going to play a major scale run starting on the B flat at fret 17 of the E string. And we'll finish that off with an A major triad, or 2 notes from it, at the 14th fret. Pretty slick. Now we're to the F chord, and we're just going to play an F major or D minor pentatonic pattern 1 at the 10th position. With a little horizontal shift there at the end, that takes us to the C major chord. We're going to ascend through a C major horizontal pentatonic pattern. That brings us to the B flat chord. We're going to play a really cool lick where we create a little pedal point thing with the B flat triad. And then we're going to play the F major scale from D to B flat. Then we're back to D minor, and we're going to play a D minor triad, put the minor 7th on top and bend that minor 7th up to the root, and then trace back down the triad. Now, if I do say so myself, those two licks are pretty cool. We're at the pre-chorus now, which starts with B flat to C. So let's play a B flat triad into a C major triad, and then we're going to add an F note to it for a melody. Here's that lick. That's another really nice one. We've got B flat to C again. We're going to play a B flat triad at the 10th position, followed by 3 C major inversions, one at the 8th position, the 12th position, and the 15th position. And we lead back into the D minor chord with the notes C, B flat, and A. And then we're going to bend the 20th fret of the B string, which is a G note, up to A. And that's a quick and dirty reimagining of the Sultans of Swing solo, nailing all the chord changes with just our big 3 soloing concepts. I'm going to play that little solo over a Sultans of Swing type backing track. Check it out. Remember, folks, you don't have to learn everything. You can learn just a few basic skills, but as long as you really learn them and you can use them well, you can play over almost anything. Players like Mark Knopfler or David Gilmour, even players like Eric Johnson or Joe Bonamassa, they're not doing anything really exotic. They just get a tremendous amount of mileage out of tools like triads and pentatonic scales. And there's no reason you can't do the same. Hey, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Check out my Patreon page for more cool lessons. Work hard, have a lot of fun playing that guitar, and I'll be seeing you soon with another lesson. Bye for now.